at Giffen Memorial Elementary School. Let's see. So I'm here to discuss a little bit about me and what my role is over at Giffen, what the community school strategy is and how it works at Giffen, and the importance of partnerships for our community school success. So just a bit about Giffen. It is located in the South End of Albany. It's quite a bustling little area over there. There's some residential stuff, housing developments, there's businesses, there's large commercial buildings. We sit across the street from the DMV, across the street from the fire department, right down the street from the Times Union Center, housing developments right on two sides of us. So there's always a lot going on down over by Giffen. We have about 585 students currently. That kind of fluctuates throughout the year because we are an open enrollment school, so students are consistently kind of coming in if they're new to the area. Not necessarily have to be in our immediate neighborhood to attend Giffen. We do have a large number of students who take buses. Students are 1.5 miles away from the school, they get buses, or if they are in our special ed pre-K classes, they automatically get buses. We also have students who have younger siblings who go to the school, and so if they are from somewhere else, then they will also come to our school. So we have a large, I believe we are the largest elementary school within the Albany City School District. We have large families over at Giffen. Like I said, we have some students who have multiple siblings, cousins, aunts and uncles in the building. We also have a lot of students in our building whose parents attended Giffen. So there is a very familial sense to the building. We have some brand new teachers. We have teachers who have been there over 15, 20 years. So there's a lot of good family energy in the building. This is just a bit of the adults in the room, or in the building rather, teachers, support staff, that includes myself, our homeschool coordinator. We have E&L instructors, speech instructors, reading specialists, social emotional support staff, that includes social workers, school psychologists, behavior specialists, and a bunch of teaching assistants. We also have many volunteers who spend time in the building, foster grandparents who come in and spend time in the building. And we currently have one building principal, Mrs. Jasmine Brown, and two assistant principals, Mr. Jason Rogers and Mr. Jared Fox. So I want to spend some time talking a little bit about the community school strategy. Is anyone familiar with that term or that model? Okay. So the community school strategy is both a community school is both a place and a strategy. It's a set of partnerships between the school and other community resources. So its focus is on academics, services, support, and opportunities that lead to improving student success. So these two images kind of give us a very clear idea of what it means to be a community school. So this one here is our community schools developmental triangle. So we have on one side core instructional programming. So that's what happens in the classroom during the school day. We have on the other leg of the triangle expanded learning opportunities. So that's both after school programs in and out of the building, as well as morning programs. We are a late start school. We don't start until 9:05, and so many parents have to be at work at 9 or even earlier, so that can cause sometimes some difficulty. So we do have morning programs for students. And then the last leg of the triangle is our comprehensive support services. And a lot of that comes from working with different partners in the area to tend to social emotional needs and things of that nature. And then in the middle of the triangle, we have the child. So everything is wrapped around the well-being of the child. Around the child is family, it's a little hard to see, and then around family is community. So the community is responsible for the family, who's responsible for the child. We want to work to eliminate all the boundaries that will keep a child from being successful so that they can just spend their time focusing on their academic success. This second image is also probably a little difficult to see, but at the top we have all the things that will make our students successful. So college, career, readiness, and then down at the bottom, I kind of like to call this part like the fertilizer, is the stakeholder engagement. So stakeholders meaning community members, community organizations, parents, guardians, teachers in the building, support staff. By working together and wrapping ourselves around the children, we are making sure that the kids have what they need again to become successful. So that is essentially what community schools is about. So very quickly, I'll just talk about the 4 capacities of community schools, or the 4 C's. So anyone who's working in community schools, folks in my role as a coordinator, school leadership, know that it is important to pay attention to these 4 C's, which are comprehensiveness, collaboration, coherence, and commitment. So we make our decisions based on assessment. So we do surveys with teachers and students, family members and community members, take a look at all of our scores, our test scores, our attendance rates, things of that nature, to really come up with a plan and figure out who to tap into, which partners to bring on board to make sure that we can address these things in, sometimes some different kind of out of the box sorts of ways. We have collaboration. Everyone needs to be on the same page, and collective impact. We have to make sure that there is structured involvement of all stakeholders. Our 3rd C is coherence, again, just a shared vision and alignment, that everyone knows what our goals are. Are we focusing on attendance? Are we focusing on student achievement? Are we focused on improving after-school programs? And then everything that we do in the building ought to be tied up in alignment. And then commitment, which is a major thing to consider. I think a lot of times in Albany and in the South End, there are many resources. A lot of times folks say that there are not that many resources. Kids don't have things to do. People aren't willing to help. We know that there are a lot of resources, but the commitment is not always there. So if we have someone who comes in for a couple of weeks, or wants to volunteer, we appreciate those things, but to stick to it is really important. When we're seeking out partnerships, and not just with organizations, but with families as well, we want to make sure that they're committed to the cause, and that is also a major part of what community school is about. So what is my role? As a community school coordinator, I'm here to implement, integrate, align, and coordinate the strategy at the site level. So there are 6 community schools in Albany City Schools right now, and each of us work all together, and then we also work in our individual schools to just keep everything in alignment. That comprehensiveness, part of the 4 capacities, that cohesive part of the 4 capacities. We're the people who push forward the movement in the school building. We are managing the partnerships so that students can learn and thrive, and not have to consider all those obstacles that come up and keep them from being successful. Sort of specifically, things that I do is I facilitate the Community Schools Advisory Board. So once a month, we meet with our board, which consists of teachers, parents, community members, and we discuss what our priorities are, what our focuses are, who we can partner with. They are a major decision-making piece of the community schools. Okay, so this is kind of I think this is one of the best ways to kind of consider what a community school does. So this is our Giffen Grown Community Garden, and it has taken a lot of work from a lot of our partners to make this successful. So we have over here the Raddick Center donated soil, helped us build beds to create this garden. We have a parent who worked diligently to plant and water the beds, and also assisted in building the beds. We were then able to, harvest goods from the garden. Students work in the garden. We have a 6th grade leadership team. I think some of you might have met the 6th grade leadership team, who goes in on Fridays and trims and plants and plucks and all that good stuff. This is a picture of me distributing the fruits and vegetables to families at the end of the school day. And then we worked with some partners we had, in addition to some of the items that we picked from the garden, we then had some books to give away for, allowing the kids to kind of consider healthy snacks and healthy living. So together with all of our partners, parents, students, community members, we have teachers enjoying salad from the garden. So this is what community schools is about. Everybody working together. The kids are not just out there kind of willy-nilly, picking tomatoes, but there is, they're learning about gardening. They're learning about healthy eating. And these are things that come up on their exams. These are things that come up on those state assessments. So it's all connected, all in alignment of making sure that the students are successful. Some of our project and initiatives. I mentioned to a number of you about our We Are Giffen Family Chomp Card. So we have a school comprehensive education plan. We are identified as a priority school, which means that we have to work to increase our assessment numbers. So in considering that, we have our Tenet 6, which is about family and community engagement, and considering how we can get parents on board again to be one of those major stakeholders. And so to encourage our families to come, we have created the Family Chomp Card Initiative. So this is an image of the Chomp Card. Parents come to PTA meetings, they come to volunteering classrooms, they come to read to classrooms, they get a chomp on their card because we are the Giffen Gators. Gators chomp card. Once they get 5 chomps, they give us back the card, and then they are entered into a raffle to win a prize. This is last year's winner. This is when we first started. She has 2 children over at Giffen, and it was a 40-inch smart TV. This is a refugee family from Burma who was able to come through to all of our events. We provide translators when they're in need, and so this is the We Are Giffen Chomp Card. And so we want to continue to do this. We have already seen a lot of improvement in attendance. Usually we have about 2 or 3 parents at PTA meetings. Our first PTA meeting this year, we had 9 parents, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is actually a really big deal. And so just kind of further encouraging. They were a little bit large, the first edition. Chomp Cards 2.0 fit into your wallet. So parents are more excited about coming. They're throwing the cards in my face. Like, I'm here, can I get a chomp? Can I get a chomp? So it's really exciting to see how the excitement is growing with the parents as well. Because sometimes they need just a little extra push. Not that they don't care about their children's education. I think that's kind of a misconception a lot of times. They think, oh, well, parents don't come because they don't want to come. They don't care. Of course they care. They're busy. They don't get the information all the time. It's difficult to keep track of what's in a folder of a 4-year-old, So they're coming out, and we want to continue to encourage them to come out by providing additional gifts, things like gift cards to Price Chopper or Walmart, other electronics, things of that nature. And it's really important. Something that a former boss of mine has always said was that we have to view parents as partners and not problems. A lot of times we have, and I won't say a lot of times, but from time to time we have folks in the building who don't always find it easy to communicate with our parents. If a parent is being called because their child is misbehaving in the middle of their workday, they will likely come in frustrated, and it might not be so easy to communicate with them. Doesn't mean that they're mean, doesn't mean that they're rude, just circumstances come up, and sometimes it's difficult to kind of curb those real feelings of frustration. And that will hinder not only the relationship between the parent and the teacher, but it will sometimes hinder the relationship between the child and the teacher. And so we want to make sure that we are always looking at parents as partners, because we need them to make sure that their children are successful. So this is an image from our faculty parent game that was 2 weeks ago. We had, there was an increase in who participated last year and who participated this year. They all got chomps on their chomp cards, and we're all very excited about it. And the last thing I want to talk about is attendance. Attendance is a major issue. And because, again, we are a priority school, we have certain guidelines that we have to stick to, and attendance is one of those. So we're aiming for 95% attendance, and currently our rate from September was 88%. And so that works against us as far as our numbers go, as we're reporting back to the state, but it also works against the students. Research shows that missing 18 days of school will really impact negatively a child's academic performance. 18 days of school per the year is just 2 days a month, and so many things come up. Wintertime is difficult for our kids to come. Like I said, we have kids who are not just in the immediate neighborhood, but have to travel. So if they're not on the bus, if they're at that 1.4 mile mark, they can't get to school on a school bus. So they have to kind of find their way. You know, things like illness, of course, come up, but those things like those relationships also keep kids and parents from coming to school. So we're working diligently to increase attendance. And one of the things that we want to do is offer attend dances. So when children reach that 95% a month per quarter, we want to reward them with an attend dance. So it'll be a celebration because they've gotten to that point. You know, the students will just kind of get to hang and boogie for a little bit. And so we need things like DJs and snacks for that. We want to do that quarterly. We have 4 times when the report cards come out where we share that information with parents. Another thought, all of the community school coordinators from Albany met with the site coordinator in Schenectady, and they gave us a great idea of having an attendance trophy. And that has been a really great project at their school, where the kids are now not so gently encouraging their classmates to make it to school every day because they want to have that trophy. And they have small celebrations, ceremonies where they pass the trophy from class to class as each class reaches that goal, or whichever classroom has the highest. So that's something that we're looking to implement also to positively impact our attendance. When kids are excited about coming to school, you know, even if those obstacles exist, they will try their best. I know we have little ones, and a lot of times it has to do with the parents, but you know, when a student says, I don't want to come to school, and there's a lot going on in the household, sometimes the parents will concede to that. But if the kids are excited about coming, you know, then the parents are more likely to kind of make it their business to really push that extra mile if they need to. And so just a thank you from our sweet second grader here. Yes.
So when they hit the 5 chops, do they get a new card?
They do get a new card. Yes, they do get a new card. I have 2 parents who are on their second card already in, what do we have, almost through October, which is really exciting. Last year we only had 7 completed cards by June. So this year we have 2 completed already, and it's already October. So, yes. Yes.
Yeah, this is great stuff that you're presenting. And you must really have developed a terrific spirit within the school community, I would expect. I'm thinking about the youngster that comes from the family, the dysfunctional family, that has the kinds of problems that can't make that attendance requirement. And we know the pressure that can be put on a child that has problems in a home situation, particularly if there's a substance abuse problem that causes all kinds of erratic behavior at home. Can't get out, and therefore is pulling down the attendance. How is that handled? I mean, does that just put extra weight on that child within the framework of trying to reach these goals?
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have a number of folks in the school building who, you know, address those things. So me, for example, I will go out and conduct home visits. If we have a student who has spotty attendance and we don't know why, we will send folks out to do home visits, either myself or our homeschool coordinator, or sometimes together. We'll go and kind of assess what's going on. You know, we'll call if we can't get through. We'll visit. We'll just offer our support. One of the reasons why it's so important for me to be well connected in the community is so that when something comes up, I can say, okay, I know this organization who can help you with this. I know this family who can help you with this. And we really do work collectively and collaboratively in the building to make sure that, you know, to the best of our ability, you know, we're helping to meet those needs. Sometimes out of our hands, it's too big for us as a school building. But we do have a lot of resources that we can connect families to. And, you know, not just connecting to the resources, but really connecting to the families. Because the first time I show up on a doorstep, I'm not going to get all the information. Right. You know, so I have to kind of work proactively to build those relationships so that when I do come to the doorstep, they're willing to say, okay, Amanda, this is what's going on. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Or do you know somebody who can?
Yeah. I'm just thinking there's no pressure worse than peer pressure. I mean, it can be the best
Yeah,
of influence,
right.
but it also for the child that's in the midst of it and can't do anything to affect it because the influences are coming from the parental circle. It's got to be brutal.
Yeah. We definitely see that. We definitely see that. But our students are very resilient, and they have learned many skills to help them cope with under those circumstances.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
My wife is a school nurse at an elementary school of about that size, and I know the issues she deals with on a daily basis, whether it's dispensing medications, or kids with diabetes, or the social issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When you showed your list of people there, I didn't see an RN or a school nurse in the list. Is that
Yeah,
oversight,
so
or do
that
you
was
have-
part of the support staff number. We have 2 nurses. We also have a Whitney Young Health Clinic in the building. So not only are kids, going for scrapes and bruises
Yeah,
and
I'd
the
be very
nurse.
surprised if you didn't, but I didn't see
Yeah,
it
yes.
specifically in the list.
Yes,
so
but
that's
they
good.
can get their immunization shots right in the building. There's a physician's assistant, so they can get their physicals
Right.
right there in the building. Yes.
Have you seen an increase of students where English is a second language in the home and they're coming from outside the area?
Yes.
And I'm just wondering where they're coming from and is it an increasing number?
Yes, absolutely. We actually just had our E&L night. I know it was prior ESL, E&L, English New Learners, I believe is what the acronym stands for. We do have a large number of, students who themselves don't speak English or families don't speak English. Of course, with the refugee population in Albany, we do see a lot of those families as well. When we have 3 E&L teachers in the building, for events, we have access to translators who will come in and support. When we have our open houses or our parent-teacher conferences, we have translators come into the building just kind of on hand, ready to go with the families and meet with the teachers and things of that nature.
So, going back to the child cards.
Yes.
As can you shall receive.
Okay.
So, the board approved about a month ago, roughly, 2 $300 Price Chopper Market 32 gift cards
Oh, that's
that you can
incredible.
include.
Thank you so much.
And then,
Thank you.
you get a official.
You ready, Kevin? Like it's pasted on his face.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Much appreciated.
So if anybody else has any other questions, we'll be wrapping up now. If you want to hang out for a couple
Yeah,
minutes,
sure.
as well as Dr. Liss, if
Sure.
anybody wants to
And if
ask.
I can just